After being sued over and over again, the actor's most terrifying account was that he supposedly put an unloaded gun to his ex-fiance's head and continuously pulled the trigger on her.
Welcome back. We're your host, Savannah.
And Kaylin.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Two Candid Cousins. Once again, it's just going to be me today. Unfortunately, me and Savannah have both been sick. It's that season, but I'm going to push through, stuffy nose and all. Today is very special for us. It is our 20th episode, so I wanted to do something a little fun. I know we said we are going to be doing the cult episode, and that is coming, I promise. That is going to be our next episode. We've just both been sick, so we're trying to get completely better before we do that one, as it's very serious. So we're going to dive right into it for the 20th episode. I am going to try to stick with our original segments. So that's going to be trending topics, conspiracies, and mental health. So without further ado, let's jump right into 20 crimes committed by celebrities. Number 1 being Tim Allen. So before his home improvement days, Tim Allen was caught with over 650 grams of cocaine at the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport in Michigan. After being arrested and pleading guilty to felony drug trafficking charges, the actor was faced with the possibility of life in prison. He cut a deal with prosecutors and received a reduced sentence of 3 to 7 years in exchange for giving up other dealers. Luckily, he was able to get his life back on track and has been sober since 1998. Number 2, Mark Wahlberg. He was accused of harassing African American students 2 separate times by throwing rocks at them and shouting racial slurs. He had gotten himself in trouble at least 24 times with Boston Police Department. When he was 16, Wahlberg beat a middle-aged Vietnamese man and knocked him out in the middle of the street. Later that day, he attacked another Asian man with a metal hook, which left the victim blind in one eye. He was charged with attempt at murder, but he only pled guilty to assault. It ended with him being sentenced to 2 years in prison, but he served 45 days. 45 days. Got off easy there, Mr. Marky Mark. Little break to drink some of my water. Made me some water with frozen berries. Trying to get better. Okay, number 3 is Matthew Broderick. While driving in Northern Ireland with his then-girlfriend, actress Jennifer Grey, Broderick veered into the wrong lane and crashed into another car. The 2 actors survived the accident with significant injuries, but the passengers in the other car, 28-year-old Anna Gallagher and her mother Margaret Doherty, lost their lives on the spot. Broderick was initially charged with causing death by dangerous driving. He got off with a lesser conviction of careless driving and a $175 fine. Number 4, Lil' Kim. In February 2001, Sophie Jackson and Damon Butler, who were Lil' Kim's bodyguard and manager, were involved in a shootout outside a radio station in New York. The event left one man severely injured. During their trial, the rapper testified in front of grand jury that she hadn't seen either of the 2 men at the scene on that day. Surveillance footage was uncovered that proved all 3 of them were together in front of the building. This resulted in Lil' Kim being convicted of perjury for lying to a federal grand jury. Despite maintaining her innocence throughout the trial, she got a 1-year prison sentence 4 years after the crime. Number 5, Allison Mack. After appearing as Chloe Sullivan on the long-running CW superhero series Smallville, Allison Mack mostly withdrew from the spotlight. She later was in the media spotlight in 2018 when she was named as a close confidant and enabler for cult leader Keith Raniere. As a member of Raniere's cult, she helped recruit women who would be severely mistreated. She was initially charged with trafficking crimes, forced labor, and more, but after cooperating with investigators on Raniere's prosecution, she negotiated a plea deal for the lesser charge of racketeering. She received a hefty 120-year sentence. Number 6, Winona Ryder. Shocking all of her fans, Winona was arrested in 2001 for shoplifting thousands of dollars worth of merchandise from Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. Shake my head, shake my head. Number 7, John Hamm. When he was in college at the University of Texas, Austin, he was accused of violently hazing a pledge member of his fraternity. The pledge, Mark Allen Sanders, claimed 7 men, including Ham, beat him, hit him with the paddle, shoved his face in the dirt, lit his pants on fire, and led him around with a claw of a hammer beneath his genitals. His injuries included a fractured spine. He says he nearly lost a kidney. He was originally charged with assault, which was deferred and ultimately dropped. The whole lawsuit was eventually dismissed. When asked about the incident in 2018, he reportedly got angry and said he was essentially acquitted, calling the reports sensationalized, and said it was a bummer of a thing that happened. Ham also reportedly accused the reporter of writing a hit piece. Number 8, keep his wife's name out your motherfucking mouth, Will Smith. Back in 1989 in Philadelphia, Will Smith got into an argument with a record promoter by the name of William Hendricks. The actor told his bodyguard to beat up Hendricks, which ended up being so brutal that the man was left nearly blind in one eye due to a fracture to his eye orbit. Smith was convicted with aggravated assault, reckless engineer. Wait. Smith was convicted with aggravated assault. Will Smith was convicted with aggravated assault, reckless endangering of another person, and criminal conspiracy. The charges were later dropped, even though the actor spent a night in a cell where other cellmates were constantly waking up for autographs. Number 9, Snoop Dogg. In his school years, he was often in trouble with the law on accounts of drug trafficking and spent 6 months in jail. It has become known that he sold marijuana to an old high school classmate, Cameron Diaz. Back in 1993, Snoop Dogg, along with his bodyguard, was convicted with the murder of Philip Woldemariam, a rival gang member at the time. The bodyguard escaped the charges instantly by claiming it was self-defense, but Snoop was acquitted 3 years later in 1996. Number 10, Jay-Z. Troubles began early for Jay-Z. When he was 12 years old, Jay-Z shot his drug-addicted brother in the shoulder after he stole his ring. He was never convicted or charged of anything, though. In 1999, he was charged with stabbing Lance Rivera in the stomach during an altercation outside of a nightclub. The rapper pled guilty to misdemeanor and got away with just 3 years probation. Dang. Number 11, Danny Trejo. He participated in his first drug deal when he was just 7 years old. At age 10, he was arrested for the first time and served his sentence at East Lake Juvenile Hall in 1956. In 1962, he was imprisoned for drug dealing and robbery. All in all, he spent 11 years behind bars. Number 12, Courtney Love. Famed ex-lover of Kurt Cobain has a crazy story which also involves 2 other well-known celebrities. Cobain and Love's daughter, Frances Bean Cobain, was once married to Isaiah Silva. Isaiah Silva was said to be a fan of Kurt Cobain's music, so Frances gifted him a prized guitar from her dad's collections, a guitar said to be worth several millions of dollars. The couple split in 2016, the same year of this alleged attack. In the attack, not only was Courtney Love involved, but also Britney Spears, previous manager Sam Lefty, and even the 13 Reasons Why actor Ross Butler. Several other celebrity names were mentioned in this conspiracy as they devised a plan to not only kidnap, break in, and assault, but even murder for the guitar. There were claims that the 3, plus a chauffeur, hacked into Isaiah Silva's phone to send messages that could present him as depressed or suicidal. Isaiah said the chauffeur, Ross Butler, and Sam Lefty broke into his house and assaulted him, keeping him hostage until he signed a legal agreement for the guitar. That same month, Isaiah filed for a restraining order against the ex-manager Lefty. Number 13, Vanilla Ice. Ever since 1991, Vanilla Ice has been in trouble with the law. The first time he was arrested was on a firearm charge after threatening a homeless man with a gun. Later in 2001, he was arrested for assault after attacking his wife. He pled guilty to he pled guilty to disorderly contact. Oh my god, I can't read. He pled guilty to disorderly conduct and admitted to pulling out some of her hair in the incident. As a consequence, he was sentenced to probation and family therapy sessions. In 2008, he was once again charged with battery after being accused of hitting his wife, but she was released a day later. In 2008, he was once again charged with battery after being accused of hitting his wife, but he was released a day later after she confirmed that he only shoved her. He was also demanded to stay away from his wife from that point on, but the case was also dropped. Number 14, Mike Tyson. As a child, he was involved with theft cases like pickpocketing and robbery. When Tyson was 25, he was charged with an account of rape, criminal deviant behavior, and confinement by Desiree Washington. Desiree was a candidate in the Miss Black America pageant, and the attack was made in her own hotel room. The wrestler was sentenced to 10 years, but managed to get out with only 3 years. In 1997, he then famously bit off the ear of his opponent. Years later, he was charged again with multiple assaults, ties with drugs, and DUIs. Number 15, Charlie Sheen. In 1994, Sheen was sued for the physical assault of a college student. He also beat his ex-girlfriend Brittany Ashland by allegedly taking her by the hair and throwing her head against the stone floor. 2 years after this assault, Sheen was hospitalized for a cocaine overdose. Domestic violence had then occurred again in 2009 with his third wife, and he was said to have held a knife to her throat. After being sued over and over again, the actor's most terrifying account was that he supposedly put an unloaded gun to his ex fiance's head and continuously pulled the trigger on her. Number 16, Marilyn Manson. In 2001, Marilyn Manson spat on a security guard and pulled his head up against his bare crotch during a concert, which ended him with a misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct. Manson faced one account of assault and battery along with criminal sexual conduct. The felony could have landed him 2 years in prison, but he got off with a $4,000 fine. In 2021, many of Manson's ex partners and other women publicly stated that they were physically, sexually, and emotionally abused by the rock star, but he has denied the allegations and has not been charged with any crime yet. Number 17, Phil Lewis. He was indicted on manslaughter on drunken driving charges by a Montgomery County grand jury on December 28th for an accident that resulted in the death of a 21-year-old Chevy Chase woman. Lewis's attorney said in an interview that police have told him blood test shows that Lewis's blood alcohol content was nearly 3 times the legal level of intoxication. Lewis was indicted on misdemeanor charges of manslaughter by automobile, homicide by motor vehicle while intoxicated, and driving while intoxicated. Number 18, Ryan Grantham. Featured in the CW show Riverdale and the movie Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He's been sentenced to life in prison for fatally shooting his mother in their home in Canada. He was sentenced after pleading guilty earlier this year to second-degree murder, which carries an automatic sentence of life in prison. On March 31st of 2020, Grantham, then 21, shot his 64-year-old mother in the back of the head with a handgun as she played the piano. The crime occurred in the family home located in Squamish, about an hour away from Vancouver. Shortly after the murder, Grantham recorded a video confessing to the crime. He later told authorities that he had planned on killing the Canadian Prime Minister and possibly carrying out a mass shooting at a local university, but he changed his mind. He told police that he rationalized killing his mother as sparing her from having to deal with the aftermath of his aborted plans to assassinate and shoot up a school. Number 19, Jonathan Lewis. On the morning of January 3rd, 2012, Jonathan was taking a walk through his neighborhood and he thought he heard cries of distress at a neighbor's house and broke in, but the place was empty. Not long after, 2 men arrived and asked him to leave. Lewis went after them with an empty glass bottle, striking each on the head. A fight ensued, spilling out onto the patio. Lewis bit one of the men on the arm while attempting to flee. He was overpowered and detained until the police arrived. Lewis claimed he was acting in self defense. Police charged him with trespassing, burglary, and assault with a deadly weapon, and he was sent to the Twin Towers jail. 3 days later, his behavior landed him in the psychiatric ward as a 5150, code for involuntary confinement. He remained there for 72 hours. When Lewis's father bailed him out, his discharge summary read, "Chief complaint, blunt head trauma and suicidal." After a total of 8 days behind bars, Lewis returned to his parents' house in Northridge. The following weeks were a blur of self destructive activity, including slashing his wrist in a suicide attempt. Michael and a network of his family and friends kept a close eye on him. By the end of January, Lewis seemed more stable, and his father decided to let him live on his own in Santa Monica. Trouble started again immediately. On February 10th, Lewis was arrested for hitting a man outside of a yogurt shop. He was released on a $20,000 bail. Days later, he walked fully clothed into the ocean in Santa Monica and was hospitalized for hypothermia. On February 18th, he was arrested again, this time for trying to break into a woman's apartment in Santa Monica. He said he thought it was his friend's place. Again, he was released on bail. Part of the problem, according to his father, was that Lewis had yet to receive a clear diagnosis. Was he bipolar, psychotic, or as his father believes, suffering from a traumatic brain injury? Then, lastly, we have number 20. Chris Breezy. Chris Brown. That was too cringe. So honestly, I could have done a segment called 20 Things Chris Brown has been arrested for. Let's get into this. Of course, we all know the assault case of Chris Brown against Rihanna. It dominated the news cycle in the late 2000s. The assault happened February of 2009. In case you are living under a rock and never heard about this, she sustained visible injuries and was hospitalized. He turned himself into the police. After pleading guilty to a felony assault, he was given a sentence of 5 years probation and 6 months of community service, which he goes on to violate his probation many, 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 many times. Um, Following an interview on Good Morning America where he was asked about the incident with Rihanna, he allegedly blew up in his dressing room during a commercial break and threw a chair at a window overlooking Times Square. He confronted several members of the show's production staff and exited the building shirtless. On June 14th, 2012, 8 people were injured in a brawl in a New York City nightclub involving Chris Brown, Drake, NBA star Tony Parker, and various members of the trio's entourage. Everyone saw this, everyone heard about this. On October 2013, he was arrested for felony assault in Washington, D.C., when he and his bodyguard, Christopher Hollisey, were involved in a physical altercation with 2 men outside of their hotel. The charges against Chris Brown and his bodyguard were reduced to simple assault and misdemeanors. In 2014, he ended up going to rehab by order of a judge, and he was kicked out of the Malibu treatment facility. He was sent to jail for violating the facility's internal rules. On May 9th, 2014, he was sentenced to 131 days in jail for probation violation. February of 2015, Chris Brown was banned from entering Canada because of his criminal history. In June 2016, Mike G, a manager who Chris Brown hired to help him rehabilitate his image after he assaulted Rihanna, filed a lawsuit against him claiming that Chris Brown had viciously attacked him on May 10th. The matter was settled out of court in 2019 after several years of litigation. In August 2016, Chris Brown was arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon following a 9-hour standoff with police at his LA mansion after a woman called 911 claiming he had allegedly threatened her with a gun, according to the Los Angeles Times. Charges were never filed. In May 2018, an identified woman sued Chris Brown and 2 others after she was allegedly held down and essayed in the singer's home during a party on February 23, 2017. The woman claimed the group used drugs, alcohol, threats, and presence of guns to intimidate, coerce, and force unwilling female guests to perform sexual acts. She sued the trio for sexual battery, and assault of intentional infliction of emotional distress. Chris Brown's lawyers denied the allegations. In April of 2020, the lawsuit was dismissed and settled out of court. In December 2018, Chris Brown was charged with 2 criminal counts of having a restricted animal species, in this case a monkey, without a permit. Each count carried a maximum sentence of 6 months in prison. Prosecutors later dropped the charges against Chris Brown for possessing the monkey without a permit after the artist agreed to forfeit his rights to Fiji and pay $35,000 for the monkey's care. In January 2019, he was detained in Paris on potential charges of aggravated rape and drug infractions after a woman filed a complaint with the police. He denied the accusations and filed a defamation suit against the woman. On June 18th, 2021, LA police responded to a call from a woman at Chris Brown's home claiming that a male suspect, which several outlets, including TMZ and ABC, reported being Chris Brown, struck her in the back of the head. He was no longer at home when the police arrived, but the officers reported a crime report. A woman identified as Jane Doe filed a $20 million lawsuit against Chris Brown on January 27th, 2022, alleging that he drugged and SA'd her on December 30th, 2020 on a yacht in Miami. The woman also detailed 2 subsequent encounters with Chris Brown, including an incident in August 21st when Chris Brown became irate because she would not respond to his alleged sexual advances. While not directly addressing the claims, the day following the lawsuit, he shared a message on his Instagram story saying, "Whenever I'm releasing new music or projects, they try to pull some real bullshit." The accuser's lawyer dropped her case after Miami Beach police shared months of text messages between Brown and Jane Doe. There were messages in which she repeatedly asked Brown if she could see him after the alleged essay. Okay. That wraps up our 20 crimes committed by celebrities. Now we're going to go ahead and move into our second segment. I'm going to be talking about 20 celebrity conspiracy theories. Number 1, Tupac faked his own death. Some people believe that Tupac was tired of the fame and spotlight, so he faked his own death. People claim inconsistencies in the details of his death, and there have been people who claim to have spotted him after his death. Suge Knight made arrangements for immediate cremation after Tupac's death, and the mortuary records recorded an inaccurate weight and height. Pac's social security number was not registered in the official death index. Many fans believe that Tupac was killed by the FBI in an attempt to end violent rap culture in the midst of the infamous West Coast versus East Coast hip hop war. There are so many conspiracies surrounding Tupac's death, but what do you believe? Number 2, Katy Perry is JonBenet Ramsey. This conspiracy theory suggests that pop star Katy Perry is actually JonBenet Ramsey, a child beauty queen who was murdered in 1996. Some people believe that JonBenet's parents faked her death and that she then went on to live her life as Katy Perry. They do look very similar, but I don't know. What do you think? Number 3, Britney Spears is a clone. Some people believe that Britney we see today is not the original and that she was Britney Spears' clone following her breakdown in 2007. There have been obvious changes in her appearance, her behavior, and the fact that she's not been seen in public for some extended periods of time. Some people believe she's being held captive and someone else is using a filter to pretend to be her and cover it up. Others believe it's just a mental illness taking a toll on her. What do you think? Number 4, Kanye West is a clone. This one, I have to admit, I believe it. That's not Kanye. It's not. So let's look back. Kanye gets into a whole thing with Balenciaga. Okay. If you don't know what happened with them, they were exposed for having some freaky teddy bear BDSM ads involving kids and just a whole bunch of other shit that is just really fucking creepy. So yeah, that's a whole thing. Then he kind of exposes them and is speaking out on them in Hollywood and all this other crazy shit, right? Then he just goes missing for 2 months. Then he shows back up with a new wife and he's like 6 foot something. What? His current girlfriend is 5'8", and he looks easily 4 to 6 inches taller than her, even when she wears heels. So something's weird about that. His head shape is different. Just so much. There's multiple lyrics from Kanye exposing Hollywood and how they would clone him. Um, I think they cloned him because he was exposing too much about Hollywood and they couldn't just because we would all know something happened. We would all know something was up, you know. Number 5, Keanu Reeves is immortal. So, some people believe that he is immortal. There are some old photos from the 1800s, I think, that looks literally just like him. So, I don't know. People believe that he's a part of a secret society that's existed for centuries. Um, he hasn't aged much over the years, and his characters often have similarities in their appearances. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think he's immortal? Do you think he's a clone? Do you think he's a vampire? I don't know. Number 6, Church of Scientology held auditions for Tom Cruise. A crazy conspiracy theory is that the Church of Scientology held auditions to find Tom Cruise's next wife. The theory suggests that the church wanted someone who would be a good public face for the religion and that the winning candidate would have the opportunity to marry Cruise. The church denied these claims, of course. Number 7, Avril Lavigne is dead. The theory that Avril Lavigne died and was replaced by a look-alike surfaced in 2005. Conspiracy theorists suggest that the singer committed unaliving um, in 2003 after the death of her grandfather, and that the music industry replaced her with a look-alike named Melissa. The theory gained popularity because the singer's appearance and behavior changed over the years. Avril debunked the theory on Twitter in 2019, but many fans are still convinced that the Avril we see now is an imposter. I don't know. I don't know, man. Number 8, Paul McCartney died in the 60s. So the theory suggests that Paul McCartney died in a motorcycle accident in the mid-60s and was replaced with a lookalike named William Campbell. Fans believe that there were various clues in the Beatles songs and album covers that revealed the truth about Paul's death. McCarthy debunked the theory in 1969 Life magazine interview, but the theory still has a following today. Fans believe that there were various clues in the Beatles songs and album covers that revealed the truth about Paul's death. Hmm. Now, I haven't deep dived on all of these conspiracies. This is supposed to just be like a little fun 20 conspiracies. So go down the rabbit hole. Have fun with it. Number 9, the CIA killed Bob Marley. The theory suggests that the government was responsible for Bob Marley's death. It's believed that the CIA wanted to prevent Marley from helping the socialist movement in Jamaica, so they poisoned him. There's no evidence that this supports the theory, but the CIA was accused of similar actions in the past, so I don't know. Could be possible. Number 10, I love this theory. I think it's hilarious. Stevie Wonder can see. This theory's been circulating for years, and it's based on supposed incidents where he appears to respond to visual stimuli. And I have seen videos where he's just responding like grabbing something someone's handing him like immediately without any instruction, like stuff like that, you know. Number 11, Stephen King killed John Lennon. The theory goes that King was a crazed fan of Lennon, and when the Beatles broke up, he became so delusioned that he vowed to kill Lennon himself. Number 12, the Illuminati killed the real Slim Shady. This conspiracy theory is the idea that the real Slim Shady was killed by an Illuminati and replaced with a doppelganger. The theory is based on supposed differences in Eminem's appearance and behavior before and after a certain date. He really does look like plastic now, and it could just be surgery, but I don't know. Anything's possible. Number 13. Nicolas Cage is a vampire. According to this theory, Cage is immortal and has been around for centuries, which explains his uncanny ability to look the same age over the years. This theory originates from a photograph of a man from the 1800s who's said to resemble the famous actor. See picture on screen. While many people believe this theory to be nothing but a joke, others continue to speculate over the possible existence of vampire celebrities. Oh no, it looks like him a lot to me. I don't know. Or he's just a clone and that's just one of the clone preset suits that they have. I don't know. Number 14, the Glee curse. The Glee curse is another conspiracy theory that suggests that the popular TV series Glee is cursed and its cast members are doomed to tragedy. This theory stems from the fact that several cast members of the show, including Corey Monteith, Naya Rivera, and Mark Saling, died under tragic circumstances. Number 15. Please don't come for me, Swifties. Is Taylor Swift really actually an Illuminati clone made from Zena LeVay's DNA? Mm? 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 Zena LeVay is the daughter of Anton LaVey, the man who founded the Church of Satan in 1966. The woman who published a book called Demons of the Flesh, The Complete Guide to Left-Hand Path Sex Magic. They look so much alike. So much. Too much alike. So what is it? Number 16. Khloe Kardashian is O.J. Simpson's kid. Now, we've talked about this on the podcast before. The math is mathin'. Long before the Kardashians were reality TV megastars, the family found their first slice of fame during the notorious O.J. Simpson murder trial. Robert Kardashian, father to Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, and Rob, was part of the team representing the one-time NFL star on the extremely high-profile case. But there are rumors that O.J. had even closer links to the family. Claims that Simpson is Khloe's father have regularly arisen, helped along by his willingness to do DNA testing. But, at least publicly, the family insists that Robert is Khloe's real dad. End of story. Probably. Number 17. Marilyn Monroe was killed by the CIA. Dead at 36 from an overdose. At least that's what they told us. Some people believe that Marilyn Monroe was actually murdered by the CIA or FBI following alleged affairs with John and Robert Kennedy. Monroe was a potential scandal and someone who knew too much about top-level U.S. politics. Another theory has it that she was killed by the mafia, who was either working on behalf of the Kennedys or trying to frame them. There's also the suggestion that she never died at all, but was instead forced into hiding to escape fame. I don't know. Number 18. Again, Swifties don't come for me. Taylor Swift and Harry Styles committed vehicular manslaughter and left clues about it in their songs. They were on a ski trip and they posted pics of Harry's face all bandaged. Years later, Taylor revealed they were able to keep a dangerous ski-mobile accident under wraps. Over the years, fans came up with a theory that they actually hit and killed someone that day. Out of the Woods lyrics. Remember when you hit the brakes too soon? 20 stitches in the hospital room? The whole chorus of Out of the Woods is Taylor wondering if they're out of a tough spot. It could be that she's just referring to a hard time in the relationship. However, it could also be her wondering if she's in the clear yet from their hit and run accident. It's possible that Harry Styles' lyrics were just two ghosts standing in a place of you and me, trying to remember how it feels to have a heartbeat. From the song Two Ghosts is also him reflecting on how the accident changed him and Taylor. In the last song on Taylor's 1989 album, Clean, Taylor sings the lyrics, "Gone was any trace of you, I think I'm finally clean." This song could have been referring to the point at which she was able to move past the accident. Is it reaching? Is it reaching? Number 19. Beyonce faked her pregnancy with Blue Ivy. Beehive, don't come for me. In an interview with Australia's Sunday Night, fans thought they noticed her baby bump fold while the singer moved. And I remember seeing this as it happened, like when it happened. As she was walking into the room and sitting down in the chair across from the interviewer, her loose-fitting dress that did all but completely conceal her baby bump appeared to flatten in the same spot where many claimed her baby bump should have been. People believe that she hired a surrogate. I believe people were saying that her nanny is like the real mom. I don't know. Don't come for me. I don't know. Just reading what I was finding. Okay. All right. Now number 20, the 27 Club. This one's real. I don't care what people say. This theory suggests that many of the famous musicians who died at the age of 27, including Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, and Kurt Cobain, were killed by a mysterious force that targeted them at a specific age. There are multiple theories behind the 27 Club. The first one is the Saturn return theory. This is an astrological theory that states that around the age of 27, the planet Saturn returns to the same position that it was in when the person was born. This can bring a lot of emotional turmoil, challenges, and changes into a person's life. Some people may not be able to cope with these changes and resort to self destructive behaviors or suicide. The white lighter theory. This is a superstition that states that using a white lighter is bad luck and can cause death. Some people claim that all the members of the 27 Club had a white lighter on them when they died. However, this theory is easily debunked by the fact that white lighters did not exist until 1973 after some of the members had already died. The crossroads theory. This is a legend that states that some musicians made a deal with the devil at a crossroads in exchange for fame and talent. However, the price they had to pay was their souls and their lives at 27. This theory is based mainly on the story of Robert Johnson, who is said to have sold his soul to play the blues. And then lastly, the Illuminati theory. This is a conspiracy theory that states that some celebrities are members of a secret society called the Illuminati, which controls the world through various means. However, some celebrities who went to expose or leave the Illuminati are killed by them at 27 as a warning or sacrifice. This theory is often supported by finding hidden symbols or messages in music or art. So that's going to wrap it up for the 20 celebrity conspiracies. And we're going to move into our last segment of the day, breaking the stigma. Today, I'm going to be going over 20 mental health tools to implement in daily life. These are very generic, these are very simple, but I wanted to keep the 20-20-20 for our 20th episode. So, even though some of these are very simple, it's still a good reminder just to reflect on simple little things we could be doing every day for our mental health. 1, practice mindfulness through activities like meditate or deep breathing. Breathwork has seriously been proven to heal physical illnesses, not just mental health and stuff like that. So, very like if you have time, do a rabbit hole dive on breathwork and studies behind it because it's crazy. Number 2, maintain a regular sleep schedule for adequate rest. Number 3, engage in physical exercise to boost mood and reduce stress. Definitely got to hop on that train. Number 4, establish and maintain a support network of friends and family. It's really important if you don't have a lot of people. There's Facebook groups. Reddit is a really good one. Find your community. Everyone needs one. Number 5, keep a gratitude journal and focus on positive aspects of life. Journaling is always great. Number 6, set realistic goals to foster a sense of accomplishment. Realistic goals are so important because I feel like we're so trained to set these huge goals in our lives and they're not always realistic. And even if it is realistic as a long-term goal, it's very important to set little short-term goals so you feel that sense of accomplishment and just being very productive. Um Number 7, limit exposure to negative news or social media. This one's so important. It's really hard. I'm trying to take a break from social media. I know Savannah has been taking a break. For me, it's a little bit harder because a lot of my business and a lot of my work revolves around social media, but I'm trying to keep it at a professional level and not so much scrolling. Number 8, prioritize self-care activities that bring joy and relaxation. Um, Even if it's time for yourself, even if it's a bath, even if it's a cup of tea, even if it's 5 minutes, self-care is important. Number 9, challenge negative thoughts through cognitive restructuring. I love this. Sometimes it's hard. You just have negative days and just restructure your thoughts. I've been practicing that a lot, especially having a young child. Like, I'm trying to teach her these things, so it's really humbling myself. Number 10, learn and use effective time management techniques. If you're an ADHD girly like me, this is detrimental for your mental health. Time management is keys. Get a calendar, write a calendar, get a calendar app on your phone, get a task app, whatever works best for you. Number 11, foster hobbies and creative outlets for self expression. So, as some of you know, I have picked up photography. Super exciting. I'm adding it to my hobby list and trying to turn it into my career. But I've realized that even though I'm super crafty, even though I'm super creative and I'm always getting into different hobbies, it's been a long time since I've been this excited about something. And even me being sick as a dog, I still went outside and took some pictures with my new camera. It will give you that serotonin you need, I promise. Number 12, seek professional help when needed, such as therapy or counseling. Super important. Don't let anyone make fun of you. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not needed. If you can't afford it, there is programs that will help you. There's no excuse. There's YouTube Academy. Whatever, just hear from a professional. It makes a difference. Number 13, develop a routine to provide structure and stability. Developing a routine can be very hard for someone like me, especially. I need routine, but I'm not good with consistency. And I've gotten better about it, but it really makes a difference. When I get up, when I have a routine, when I have a plan for the day, it just makes the day go so smooth. Number 14, practice self compassion and avoid self critical thoughts. This is really, really important, as like cheesy as it sounds. It's so easy to talk down on yourself and just talk to yourself how you would want to be talked to by someone else. If you wouldn't say it to someone else, don't say it to yourself. And that's the rule that I live by. Number 15, establish healthy boundaries in relationships. Boundaries are so important. This year is the first year that I've really put in place boundaries and really have made sure that I'm not letting anyone pass those boundaries or break those boundaries. You are not in the wrong, whether it's family or not. Number 16, monitor and manage stress through relaxation techniques. Number 17, stay socially connected even if through virtual means. Like I said, even if you don't have friends and family in person, there's Facebook groups, there's Reddit, there's social media, and used in healthy ways can be very good for you. Um, Number 18, focus on a balanced and nutritious diet for overall well being. This is so important. I've been really trying to focus on what I'm cooking, how I'm cooking it, not eating out, just making a better diet for myself and putting together a plan in that way. Number 19, cultivate a positive mindset through affirmations. Affirmations are my favorite thing. Affirmations really do work. If you haven't heard of it, look up how words affect water. There's science experiments on it, and it is crazy. or how words affect, what was it? They put like rice, was it rice? It's like rice and water in jars. And certain jars they would talk to a different ways. So like one jar it would be happy. Second jar it would be like all angry stuff. Third jar it would be all sad stuff. And they also did one where they did different types of musics, and the frequency in music can affect you as well because it's words. And there really was a change. Like the angry jars where they just said mean shit, they were molded and gross. And the happy jars, perfectly fine. It's crazy. Look it up. And lastly, number 20, engage in activities that bring a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Everyone needs a sense of purpose in life. It can't just be wake up, cook breakfast, go to work, come home, clean, take a shower, cook dinner, do dishes, go to bed. Like you have to have something that brings fulfillment in your life and purpose. And no matter how little it is, just find your purpose, find your reason to keep going every day because it's one of the most important things. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Next week, Savannah will be back. We will be doing the cult episode. Please tune in for that. I will be posting a trailer for it. I'll be posting the official date that it'll be released, so just look out for it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.